Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 kill team video, where today I'm going over the 7 best kill teams in Season 3, where I rank basically the 7 best kill teams in Season 3. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know if you think I've missed any kill teams. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as an affiliate Get Element Games and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But let's get into the video. So yeah, today, this is, one of my fancy presentations where I'm going over the 7 best kill teams for Season 3 Bheta-Decima. I'll be going over what makes a good kill team in Season 3. So there are actually a lot of clearly defining factors that kind of mirrored, what made a kill team good for Into the Dark in Season 2. Obviously, what makes a kill team good for Bheta-Decima, which is Season 3, is access to Fly. Very clear why Fly is good, because Fly ignores all of the rules for this kill zone. Effectively, like, you don't need to jump because you can fly. You can move over the ocean because you can fly. Obviously, like, even having 1 to 2 operatives with Fly is very strong. Not dominatingly so, but very good. Obviously, if a team could, for some reason, take everyone with Fly, they'd be insane. Also, climbing gear is very good. So what climbing gear does is it reduces effectively how much you climb by 1 white to a minimum of 1 white, and it reduces how much you drop to effectively a minimum of 1 white as well. But what this allows, because effectively to climb onto a gantry is 4 inches, so it allows you to climb onto a gantry for 2 inches, which most importantly allows you to dash up a gantry, which is very important for a lot of kill teams. Also, remember, when you're going from a gantry to the top of the Hearthkyn furnace, it's still only 1 white, but just having climbing gear is very powerful on on Bheta-Decima, especially if you're moving up from the kill zone floor, because you get scalable from the Hearthkyn furnace when you're climbing it from the kill zone floor based on the maps you're using, so you can still effectively climb it for 1 white, which is very powerful. Obviously, free traversal abilities are good as well, because they effectively act as climbing gear, and then if you can take them with climbing gear, you can almost fly. So, we'll get into it when we come into specific kill zones, but those abilities. And a lot of these free traversal abilities also include auto-passing jump tests. Then we have Ignore Obscuring. Obscuring is the main way to stay safe on this kill zone, especially depending on some of the deployments. You're relying on Obscuring to stay safe, and if you can ignore it with 1 or more operatives, you can apply a lot of pain, because if you ignore Obscuring, you basically ignore a multitude. The only thing you don't ignore is movement. It's crazy. Super Conceal is also very important to have because of the scarcity of terrain on Bheta-Decima. So if you can use barricades or any sort of light cover to get Super Conceal, which is basically conceal that can't be negated unless you're effectively within 2 inches or they're on an engage order. It's very important. Obviously, access to Recon makes you a very good kill team in Season 3, because Recon is literally the best archetype, even with the changes to approved ops. It's just so good. Auto-passing jump tests kind of goes with free traversal abilities. But remember, as of now, jump tests are still on a 1. You fail, and the moment you fail your jump test, you end all your movement. So let's say you moved 2 inches out to start your jump, then you roll a 1, you're just stuck there. So jumps can be very crippling, so auto-passing them is very good. And then the ability to use forward deploys, or just a single forward deploy, because forward deploys are naturally very powerful, but on Bheta-Decima, they're even more so, because if they allow you to start on gantries further deeper into the kill zone, it can allow you to secure the Hearthkyn furnace early, which is almost game-winning on certain maps of approved ops, because of how powerful the Hearthkyn furnace is, was like, for example, having 2 objectives on it, or giving you full view of the kill zone. So just until that, they should be banned, but at the moment, if you can use forward deploys, you can shut down your opponent even faster. Obviously, this may change if Bheta-Decima gets any changes, because remember, 3 months into the Dark, we had a lot of changes to make it more playable. Currently, Bheta-Decima, in my opinion, still needs some more changes. For example, not allowing forward deploys, changing the ocean rule. So if you're on the ocean, if you're on the ground floor and the ocean, you're more than 4 inches apart via a line crossing the ocean, you're obscured. That should be like, ignore visible. You're not visible. That would help a lot. And, just auto-passing jump tests to help everyone. But like on a 1, you take 2 mortal wounds. But as of now, these are my categories for making a kill team good in Season 3. So before I get into the first, it was the 7 kill teams, I've actually got 2 honorable mentions. And the first are the Fast Orca Kin Band. Now, I originally thought they were going to be amazing on Bheta-Decima. I played them and I'm like, wow, they scoot across the kill zone so well. They have all these tricks. Like, they really should be technically one of the best kill teams in the kill zone. But they have one crucial weakness I think everyone's kind of figured out. They can't kill anything reliably. Sure, you can get to parts of the kill zone very quickly, but you can't do much with it. And then once your opponent gets to you, you're just like, please take forever to get to me. It's so weird. Like, Bound is amazing for Bheta-Decima. You ignore the first white you traverse, drop, or climb every time during your activation, and you automatically pass jump tests. So you can very quickly get around the board. You have access to recon. Crew hounds are incredibly threatening because they're 8 inches base movement, and your sniper can shut down multiple fire lanes and objectives if you either have like some sort of cover on the gantry, or you put a barricade there and then like you move him up there. He can just, because he can give himself ignore obscuring for an action point, could just do lots of work. The entire problem is like, your sniper is your hardest dealing damage piece. Then you do have your Crew hounds, but the problem with the Crew hounds is they're very good at cleaning up the board, but remember they can't secure any objectives on loot or secure. So they're only really actually good on capture, and that actually makes the kill team very weird because your hounds can easily get to the mid board and apply pressure. But unless you're playing capture, they're actually not doing much to secure you the boards. And as I said, once the opponent gets to you, you actually struggle to kill them, which is a Crew problem in general and maybe revisited. But at the moment, like, they're still fun, right? They just don't do as well as I thought they would, which was really weird after playing, because I was like, technically this kill team on paper should be the best, but it's not. Next, we have the Scout Squad. This is the last of my honorable mentions. Scout Squad are very good. They have access to 2 sources of ignoring obscuring. Their sniper can do it for an action point, and they have, the Auspex from one of their guys who can either pick someone visible or within 6. They have access to Super Conceal as a tactical ploy, which is very useful for moving up. They can use the forward scouting ability to shut down the opponent turning point 1, either via -1 move, -1 APL on a key operative trying to move up to a far forward objective. You use your conceal reveal tokens on any 2 objectives in the open, which you can then punish. And you can put a barricade where you want, and then spend a forward dash to dash onto there with your sniper, so he's immediately threatening the board. It's extra punishing if you're playing on the Games Workshop plastic of objectives. I very much advise not using the plastic objectives, as you would have seen in my video of approved ops, and I would much more recommend using my heavy scatter terrain pack. But if you're playing on the Games Workshop plastic objectives, they're kind of crazy, because once again, if you've got the sniper and then another heavy gunner in position, the sniper just goes, have you moved on to that objective marker? It's like, yes, I spend an action point to ignore obscuring, you're dead. They're very punishing on that. Layout is just crazy pressure, especially turning point 1. Amazing turning point 1 pressure with the use of the forward scouting ability to really hinder you and go potentially 4-1, 4-2 for 2 turning points is a very good kill team at locking you down. The hunter and shotguns can be incredibly threatening, like all the ranged weapons are, but the hunter is crazy because he's got built-in climbing gear and he effectively will be lethal 5 up every time he lethal 3 up, doing 5/5 damage every time he charges. And then it's very hard to deal with a double firing shotgun scout who just walks up to you. Like it's very with climbing gear, and as I said, everyone has access to climbing gear. They can use recon, which is a very good archetype for them, but they can fall apart quite quickly if they don't get a good turning point one, because remember they're still all 2 APL, and they do require a lot of setting up and just staying out of your opponent's threat ranges. If you get too greedy turning point one by moving up too closely, your opponent can actually threaten you quite easily. And then if they out-activate you, it's a problem as well, because remember, the way you make your heavy weapons punishing on Bheta-Decima is by using your Auspex. So if your opponent out-activates you because you only have 9 activations, they can play around you quite quickly. Like, obviously, scouts still need some buffs, but at the moment, like on Bheta-Decima, they are quite intense to play against. Not the best, but still very, very good. So for my 7th best kill team in Bheta-Decima, we have Hierotek Circle. So they have access to 4 deploy with the Death Mark via dimensional translocation, where the Death Mark can set up with any order that is more than red from the enemy drop zone and enemy operatives. So, you can easily get middle ground objectives and just wait there and secure them along with your recover item, because they can also take recon. They have 3 operatives with fly. So you've got your Cryptek and then your 2 Scarabs, effectively, which oddly applies you a lot of fast pressure, because remember, like, all those are minimum moving 6 inches at least. Very good threat. You also have the Contemporary Nanomine, which is currently the crutch of the team. Like, you're always taking the the Chronomancer. And remember, the Nanomine is a 12-inch bubble of, if you're within like 6 inches of the center, you're -2 movement and -2 to your dash, which can quite easily shut down entire kill teams, especially depending on where the Ferrotonic Furnace is, because your Cryptek can move and dash 9 inches and just go boom and just pin your opponent for multiple turning points depending on how the board is laid out. It's very threatening, and it's oddly crazy if your opponent can't get to you in time. But the Nanomine still doesn't cover as much as you would think, and it's quite hard to use it if there's not a good Ferrotonic Furnace placement or a way for your Cryptek to move up safely. So you still have to be careful of where you do it. Obviously, you've got tricks if you take the Technomancer with the ability, the Chronomancer, to boost the movement of one of your operatives by 3 inches, which allows you some more threat range for your slower operatives. But you still are tied to the weaknesses of Hierotek Circle, which is why they're technically my 7th best. They are potentially the most cursed / hilarious kill team in Season 3 via failing a reanimation roll and then also failing jump tests in the same turning point. Incredibly hilarious to play against. Incredibly depressing to experience. It's like pure comedy. It's like, okay, I failed my very important reanimation roll. That's fine. I'm going to use this warrior to jump and get to that. Oh, I've rolled a 1. What? I hate RNG. Like, it's hilarious, but it has to be mentioned. But effectively, you've got the Death Mark applying lots of pressure. You've got your 2 flying Scarabs and your Cryptek with the Nanomine applying a lot of pressure as well. But you have to remember, you've still got your other 4 operatives who are effectively, other 3, because you're going to take the Apprentek, who are just very slow. And when you're 4 inches without any movement tricks, it's quite of a struggle. So you're really relying on your Death Mark and your Chronomancer to do a lot of work. Number 6, we have Hearthkyn Salvager. They are a very good kill team on Season 3. So you have the Jump Pack Warrior first, so you can use boost to threaten / secure a lot of Bheta-Decima very early and throughout the game. So you remember, he boosts 13 inches in a straight line because it's 12 + 1. So he can reliably secure the mid zone, secure a recover item. He can boost up, especially if you get him into position with a recon dash. He can then boost up onto the Ferrotonic Furnace and then start punishing from turning point 2 onwards. Although his main ability is just boosting everywhere, stealing points and applying a lot of pressure. Everyone has access to climbing gear. So, when everyone's 5 inches of movement, going down to 3 inches for climbing everywhere is still better than most teams. And it's just good everyone has climbing gear. Even though the kill team is deceptively slow, because they all have climbing gear, they're actually quite fast on Bheta-Decima. You can stop enemy recon dashes and other particular forward deploys slash movement with your locator, which is very, very important on Bheta-Decima, because a lot of people like, you know, setting up their heavy weapons by all dashing key operatives so they can go like, okay, I actually can't reach this objective with a move and a dash, especially if I need to jump, but I can recon dash up, and you just take the locator, goes, no, none of that. Very, very good. And, you know, you stop the forward deploys of Kommandos and Pathfinders, which is very important. You also have the high las rotary cannon, which ignores obscuring, which is a very powerful gun because it's 6 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/5 heavy and ceaseless. So, you know, with your grudge tokens, that can apply a lot of pressure for free. You're great at winning at shootouts because everyone's 8 wounds with a 3-up save, and you have a medic, which, you know, actually a lot of Bheta-Decima does turn into shootouts, which this kill team does well at. And obviously you can still spec into melee with your knives, you know, stab him in the knee. And your utility grenade is actually super powerful here. So normally you run your grenadier to run up and just grenade people to death. But his utility grenade is so powerful. Like, remember, you actually have access to your own nanomine. It is more limited in range with 6 inches, but you can just throw it onto gantries your opponent needs to jump from, and then they just can't because they don't have the movement anymore. Very, very powerful, especially when you go like, okay, you can reach that objective, but you can't reach it there like in a move. So you can only reach it there in a move. So what I'm going to do is put like the +1 action point to boop and stuff. So all of a sudden now you actually can't reliably move and secure that objective. Like, oddly, the grenadier becomes even better just at not killing. And then obviously you've got the ancestors are watching, allowing for lots of flexibility. Like, you get to do a free shoot or fight action at the end of your activation. So like the jump pack warrior can charge, fight, and then shoot someone. Or you can have the grenadier who can move, throw his utility grenade, and then throw his grenade, and it stacks if they're +1 APL, but generally is in different operatives. Very, very good kill team. Remember, you can also ignore your own barricades with excavation tools. So one thing I forgot to put up here, they're very good at blocking off gantries with barricades that your opponent can't ignore, but you can. So there's, like, if you put barricades in certain places on gantries that your opponent needs to get to, you can stop them first dash jumping because they won't have the movement to traverse, and just like it hinders their movement in general while you just move through for free. So very, very good on season 3, and they can also take recon. Like, a very, very good kill team that is just basically hindered because they are 5 inches of movement. If they were 6 inches base, they probably would be too oppressive on Bheta-Decima, but very, very good otherwise. Next we have Wyrmblade. Part of the reason why I made this 7 instead of 5 kill teams. Access to probably the best forward deploy on Bheta-Decima because it gives you 2 forward deploys. 2 very, very good forward deploys. So you do have to end within red of your drop zone, but remember, you can then dash afterwards, especially if you can conceal order, so you can like steal objectives quickly. You can shoot from coming down from coming down from hiding. You also, due to the current wording, because the current wording's horrible, you get your rerolls, even though you technically shouldn't because they haven't tidied up the wording on that. But it's incredibly oppressive, and it's even more of a, if you don't respect my turning point 1, you're gonna die. They have like literally crazy turning point 1 pressure, and their forward deploy is genuinely the best. Like, their turning point 1 pressure, because everyone can switch from conceal to engage. You have operatives coming down from hiding, including the heavy gunners who are now shooting. So just lots of pressure. You do have access to climbing gear, which is once again very good. You're great at scoring primaries. Like, remember, you've got like 12 bodies. Very, very good at scoring primaries. The main problem is your tac ops, but that's just a general weakness overall for this kill team. The Sanctus Sniper can shut down whole areas of the kill zone. Remember, you're probably going to do like put a barricade, and then you can actually dash them up, right? Depending on the map as well. And for free APL, you can, for an action point, give yourself Ignore Obscuring, which is just so powerful. So you can shut down huge swaths of the kill zone. And you have lots of ways to apply pressure from conceal tricks. Remember, you can switch back one operative from engage to conceal each turning point. And remember, especially if you're taking the Sanctus Talon, the melee one, who charges from conceal, you can actually do a lot of crazy pressure on this kill zone. And, you know, even you have your Kellamorph as well, who can, you know, I'm going to go to engage, move, like indirect shot, like delete someone, then switch back to conceal. Lots of tricks. You really have to respect Wyrmblade on Bheta-Decima or they're going to tear you apart. Then we have Phobos Strike Team in 4th place. I know this is probably like, everyone's like, no, John, they're the best. So they can effectively build a team that all ignores obscuring. Because remember, if you are an Incurser, you just ignore obscuring. But the problem people seem to forget if you're an Incurser is you're 3/4 with no cover, which is fine, but you don't have any crit tricks and you don't have any rerolls. You're relying on rolling hot. And then the other issue is you're either in a position where you're shooting twice or you're going move, shoot, switch to conceal, like move, shoot, dash, that kind of pressure. With a kill team that doesn't have really many rerolls, you don't get that much use out of it. But having the ability to go full ignore obscuring is very useful in specific matchups. Like, I would not recommend going 6 Incursors all the time, but there are matchups where you can flex into it, and still having a lot of operatives that ignore obscuring is very powerful. You can use smoke grenades to apply safe turning point 1 pressure for just moving up, as well as you going like, look, I'm going to move into the open. You can't target me while I'm in the smoke grenade while I see the whole kill zone. So very, very good. Vanguard is perhaps the single best ploy in Bheta-Decima. It gives you +1 movement. You ignore the first time you traverse, drop, or climb, and you automatically pass jump tests. It does even more on Bheta-Decima. It's crazy. It's so good. Like, you know, effectively, any ploy is good when you add like 4 special rules to it. And then, obviously, they have Recon, which they're very good at. And then you have climbing gear, although it is locked to Reavers. So only Reavers can take the climbing gear. They can also take grav shoots as well, but grav shoots are so powerful. They effectively give you a 4-inch dash with fly at the end of scouting, right? And then if you're moving down from a vantage point, you gain fly during that move. Not if you move across, but if you move down. So especially if you can spend turning point 1, getting your Reavers into position on top of the Ferrotonic Furnace to like secure your attack ops and objectives, you can then charge 8 inches with fly, effectively threatening the whole kill zone. Very, very, very powerful. Like I usually would recommend going like 2 Reavers with like both, or like even 3 Reavers at times with grav shoots. You just apply so much pressure, especially with crack grenades, crazy. And then Omni Scramble is still incredibly powerful, because remember, you delay someone in your line of sight, well, who that's visible to you, and effectively everyone is going to be visible to you from turning point 1. Because a big problem this kill team had on Into the Dark is Omni Scramble actually isn't too good on Into the Dark, because you actually can't see many things. But on Bheta-Decima, even compared to open, you will be able to see many operatives turning point 1. So you can just punish operatives very easily, which is why I still recommend going the spread. But they're very, very good in Season 3. Very, very, not the best, but, you know, they're only kept out of there just because what's coming next. So 3rd place, we have Kommandos. Yeah, the reason they're the 3rd best kill team for Bheta-Decima is because they're Kommandos. If you watch the stat videos, you know why. Like, this is probably before they get another nerf, but at the moment they are still incredibly good on Bheta-Decima. Sneaky Gear is very easy to abuse, because even though it has to be within an inch of heavy terrain, all the struts and stuff are heavy, so you can set up a barricade and then Sneaky Gear onto an open gantry or Ferrotonic Furnace, as long as you're like within an inch of the wall underneath, so you can very easily set up and threaten the board. The Grok can easily steal and reach almost any objective. Like the hook shot basically gives it pseudo fly, and you know, you just shut down everything. Climbing gear, like everyone could take climbing gear, very good, right? Because remember, it, as you'll see, it combines with shush. So turning point 1 or 2, you can actually still dash up before you move, because you will dash up 2 inches and then have an inch to place your base. So very powerful. And then smoke grenades as well. So if you are unsure of even being safe with conceal, you can apply even more pressure. But you also have super conceal from your grot, which is very, very good. And then, unfortunately, this is like the one kill zone where the bomb squig is just horrible. He just exists to die. Like, if your opponent has access to ignore obscuring, you just put the bomb squig in the corner and just go like, yeah, I mean, you can shoot at the bomb squig, but I still have an extra activation. So, like, the main downside is your bomb squig still, like, this is the one kill zone where it sucks. But another strength of the kill team is your natural ability to charge from conceal. So depending, like, either if it's like there's lots of light cover around or even heavy scatter, you can quite easily threaten up the board quite easily and steal points. So just a very, very intimidating kill team on Into the Dark. Normally infiltration isn't great as well, but they play it really well, so they can spec into seek and destroy and recall infiltration. But just a very, very powerful kill team in general, and still really, really good on Bheta-Decima. So number 2, we have Void Dancer Troupe. Did you know everyone has fly? All your operatives have fly. Everyone has fly. I cannot I cannot underline how powerful that is. Fly was already a good rule. On Bheta-Decima, having operatives that can fly is great. Having your entire team, you just ignore all the rules. Just ignore who needs to jump? Look at these peasants trying to pass jump tests. So crucial everyone has fly, on top of you all being free APL. Like, no one can even hide from your pistols. There are situations, especially even with the approved op maps, where you can go, actually, as long as I am on like this part of the midboard, I can charge 8 inches across, kill that person, and then because of where I am on the gantry, I can effectively see everyone, so I'm just going to shoot with my pistol, because you have to hide there, but you're going to be... it's just so crazy. You have access to super conceal for the entire kill team. You know, you have domino field, so it's just crazy. You can stay and engage and still shoot back when you want, right? There is a downside with the Death Jester, because he actually doesn't ignore obscuring, but because he can so easily get onto the gantries, it kind of defeats the purpose. So he's still very, very good. You also have Recon Tac Ops, which this team effectively auto scores. Like, it's so easy to score secure vantage because your free APL would fly, same with recover item, and then you've got your faction tac ops. Ploys and Sadefs also allow for crazy mobility tricks, like especially Turning Point 2, if you switch your Sadef to the extra charge distance and make your star pivotal roll, the first operative is going to charge, because it gives you an extra inch on your charge, so you can charge someone 9 inches. And especially when you're only 25 mil bases on Bheta-Decima, it allows you a lot and a lot of threat range. And then another trick is what you can do if you wanted to catapult across the board. You can charge 8 inches, strike with a crit, and then spend a CP to fall back. But you could fall back forwards. So you can charge 8 inches, hit someone for a crit, and then fall back 6 inches forward to either jump back onto the Ferrotonic Furnace or catapult yourself across the last activation. Very, very powerful. Like, all their tricks still. It's quite insane to play against. And I think you only really stand a chance against them on capture, but it's such an oppressive kill team on it, especially with this the Psyker, whose most of their key abilities work on visibility, and only their damaging mortal wound power works on line of sight. But it's just very easy to shut you down and play around. You know, there's still 8 wounds, but there's 8 operatives with 4 pinvon, and it's just, they're so hard to deal with on Bheta-Decima, just incredibly tough. So you all knew this was coming. You thought it was going to be Harlequins, but no, it's Pathfinders. Pathfinders are the best kill team on Bheta-Decima, and I'll get into it in now. So drones have an incredibly punishing forward deploy. So as long as you've taken the drone controller, they can deploy with a conceal order within 6 inches of your drop zone. So yeah, it deploys anywhere within red of your drop zone, more than red from enemy operatives and blue from the enemy drop zone. You can put a barricade, deploy in a gantry, and then you can, depending on where it is on the board, recon sweep up, then activate to steal your recover item or just alpha strike. You can either put your recon drone there, your gun drone, your marker drone, your shield drone, and then just secure the board. Drones, remember, all have fly, and you're reliably taking at least 2 to 3, which are going to apply you a lot of pressure. Like, you're basically always going the gun drone and the recon drone, and like you probably want the marker drone and maybe even the shield drone. They're just so powerful. Like, just being able, all of those to fly, like, it's like, let's say you forward deployed the gun drone, so you deployed 6 inches, you take flip order, like second last activation, he moves it, like you can give him +1 APL, so then the gun drone moves and dashes 9 inches with fly, and then just shoot someone with relentless, maybe even with marker light support, and then you activate again with the drone controller to shoot again, and just like either kill 1 operative or kill 2. Very, very powerful, and I feel like there's no way you can stop that on Bheta-Decima. And that ploy alone just can win you the game, because all of a sudden, like, you're freely moving up the board, and then your opponent's just like, I just have to wait and accept that this gun drone is coming. There's very little I can do about it. I just have to wait and take it. It's not great. And then you have marker lights. So remember, marker lights only work on visibility. I mean, they work from visibility, and it is very hard to get no visibility on Bheta-Decima. Remember, there are some drop zones where you only have 3 pillars to hide behind, right? And then Pathfinders just go, wow, that's a shame for you, right? And then just marker light you to death. Because remember, once they have 4 marker lights, they ignore obscuring. And then if they have 5 marker lights, they ignore light cover and your conceal order. So all of a sudden, like, they can very quickly, with high intensity marker lights, just start annihilating you, potentially second activation of turning point 1. It's like so crazy. Like, it's just depressing to see when it happens. Once again, everyone can take climbing gear, so you can very easily get up and around the kill zone. You have access to recon, and you are just going to take recon. I think you can only take recon. You have the transpectral operative who just ignores obscuring. I remember, if you're visible, he can give someone -1 APL. So literally first activation, he can go -1 APL and I shoot. Like, it's just crazy, right? Then you have 2 powerful sources of silent shooting with the blooded and the marksman, so you can apply even more safe shooting pressure from turning point 1. You have great mobility tricks. As I said, you know, you've got climbing gear. Then you can pop Monk Car, so everyone does a free dash during their activation with an engage order. And with climbing gear, remember, it means you can dash up gantries and just do a lot of crazy punishing. You have a worthy cause, you know, so even if you've lost initiative, turning point 2, you can just immediately activate that grenadier to suicide onto an enemy point. You have multiple sources of GA2 now, because remember, you have the drone controller and the drone, but you also have the recon drone, which you're always taking. So the recon drone can select a visible enemy operative and a visible friendly operative, and then you can group activate after activating with the recon drone, and then give that operative relentless, so you can very quickly punish and annihilate the opponent. You have 12 activations, so you can very easily set up what you want to do, and you have almost no bad matchups. I think literally on Bheta-Decima there are no bad matchups of Pathfinders, and they are the main reliable counter to Troupe. Right, this team dismantles Void Dancer Troupe in general, but even more so on Bheta-Decima, because there's no way the Void Dancer Troupe can hide from the marker lights. And remember, you take the rails, because you'd have 3 sources of rails, which all have lethal 5 up 2 mortal wounds, so you can quite reliably blitz up the Void Dancer Troupe, and it's just crazy. I genuinely, unless you somehow roll incredibly badly, like you alpha strike before you set up your marker lights, you don't get enough marker lights off, it's very hard to even beat this kill team, because as I said, remember, they've got turning point 1 pressure from the gun drone for deploying. They will marker light key pieces very quickly, especially if they take the blooded with the high intensity marker lights and counting marker lights as +1. So they the blooded can immediately, if someone's got 2 marker lights, shoots them for 2 and treats them as having 5. Very, very powerful. It's just kind of incredibly oppressive, especially with how Into the Dark, Bheta-Decima works now. But that's why they're the best. Void Dancer Troupe has almost no bad matchups on Bheta-Decima. Their only bad matchup is Pathfinders. I still don't know who has a bad matchup for Pathfinders. Maybe Troupe, but then you just go, oh, you're Troupe, right? I'm just going to set up and then just start shooting you. Like, you can even push the hounds up early, but then you have no answer to the gun drone who is just going to fly around and wreck your face. Crazy. Like, when you see Pathfinders played properly on Bheta-Decima, it's just depressing, really. Overview. Why there are a lot of good kill teams. I think we have like over 30 kill teams now. I've actually lost count. These 7 are clearly the big winners from Bheta-Decima. Like, they're clearly just very good on Bheta-Decima, along with the 2 honorable mentions. There are some more, but I think like the clear honorable mentions are Troupe, Fast Talker Kinban, because as I said, I thought Fast Talker Kinban were going to be amazing, but they are actually not that good, because they don't kill anything. And then Scouts still are just a bit weak at the moment, but can be very oppressive on Bheta-Decima. Unlikely to change unless we see some major changes to Season 3. So I don't think this ranking will change unless we get changes to Bheta-Decima. Like, me and a lot of other players are saying the ocean, instead of, if you're more than 4 inches across from the ocean, instead of it making you obscured, it should just make you not visible. Because immediately, if you're not visible, gets around all those people ignoring and obscuring. It still doesn't protect you if they get up onto a vantage, like on to a gantry, but it also immediately stops Pathfinders shutting you down, turning point 1. No forward deploys. I have played a lot of Bheta-Decima, and I think forward deploys shouldn't be allowed. They're even more powerful than they were on Into the Dark. Like especially Wyrmblade's forward deploy. 2 operatives is just too much. It's almost impossible to deal with. They're very, very unfair, and like forward deploys in general. And then on Bheta-Decima, they're just way too powerful, especially if you lack any mobility tricks. And then also jump tests. Jump tests need to change. So if you roll a 1, like jump tests always pass, but you roll a d6 on the 1, you take 2 mortal wounds, something like that. But at the moment, unless we see those kind of major changes to Season 3, this ranking won't change in my opinion. Most teams that dominate in Bheta-Decima oddly don't do so well on Into the Dark. I think the only kill teams that do well on Into the Dark in this list are effectively Phobos and Kommandos. Yeah, Phobos and Kommandos. But otherwise, out of the other 5, from the 7, they actually don't do too well on Into the Dark, which is why I'm more interested now, for my own events. And what I'm going to do is, I was going to do like Bheta-Decima and Season 1, but now I'm going to do Bheta-Decima and Into the Dark, because I think they're so polarizing that they actually balance each other out. So it's just an interesting thing I noticed. Approved up changes help a lot, but there's still 1 to 2 quite bad maps. I think map 6 is unplayable still, no matter whether using my map pack or not. The problem with map 6 is all the objectives are in the middle. So if you're playing any of these teams, especially the ones with 4 deploys, they just win because they get all the objectives turning point 1 and you can't do anything. And then map 5 is a bit dodgy because you've got 2 objectives on the Ferrotonic Furnace. So once again, any fast team or with 4 deploys just gets onto that part of the kill zone and wins. And you just kind of go, oh, there's nothing I could do to stop that. But approved ops helps a lot. It's just out of the 6 maps, we've effectively got 2 that aren't really playable competitively. And remember, please don't use the plastic objective markers. They are not better. They are really better with my heavy scatter map pack. Lots of people have been using it and they've been really happy. I'll put in the episode description. I did a mini tournament where we used the objectives and the heavy scatter, and I think everyone preferred the heavy scatter, because the problem with the objectives, because they're just light cover, it's especially if you're playing into these 7 teams, they just go, oh great, yeah, you move on to the objective, you think you're safe, and then they just either ignore obscuring or flip your conceal and you just die. So yeah, and then overall Bheta-Decima is still very fun, but it needs some tweaks, as we've mentioned. Even as long as you're not playing into Pathfinders or Harlequins, I think it's still very fun. There's still some teams on this list that you don't want to play into. If you have no mobility tricks and you're playing into Wyrmblade, it's just going to be pain, especially if you're playing with the plastic objectives. They're going to mess you up. But overall, I still think Bheta-Decima is very fun, but it does need some tweaks. I'm not saying it's perfect. It just needs some minor tweaks. It's still in a better state than Into the Dark was at the same time frame, but does need some tweaks. And Season 3 kill teams are unlikely to replace these 7 from what has been seen so far. And I'm not saying the Season 3 kill teams are too weak. I actually think they're really well balanced and they're better overall than the balance we had in Season 2. It's just they look more balanced, and also I can't see how like the Night Lords kill team is going to play around these 7 kill teams that I've mentioned. The Mandrakes might be able to if they have access to like super conceal and fly, then they would be like crazy, but I don't think we're going to see something on that level. I think we're going to see like just the good thing we can see from Season 3 so far. It looks like very balanced. And unless we have changes to Bheta-Decima and some specific kill team tweaks, like even if you change Bheta-Decima, Harlequins need a specific change for Bheta-Decima because they, as I said, having fly on multiple operatives is fine. It's just when you have it, like having it on like 1 to 3 operatives is fine, but when you have it in your entire kill team, then it's a problem. Unless we see those kind of level changes, I don't think the Season 3 kill teams are going to be amazing on Season 3. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's actually pretty good. They still play Season 3 better. Like they still use the kill zone well. They just don't dominate it like these 7 kill teams do, which I think is okay. But that's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Do you agree or disagree? Do you think there's any kill teams I missed? Or do you think I've got the order wrong? Let me know. I'd be very interested to hear your responses. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check for free in the episode description below, and a Affiliate Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'll quickly shout my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Tom, Sam, Nicky Sticks, Nick, Mr. Meatwad, Kenzie, John Thomas, Graham, David, Dad of Goldens, Ben, and then for my veterans of the crit, I have Samja. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me today. I wanted to do this a while ago, but then I was like, wait for the approved op changes. Like maybe we're going to get a huge swath of changes. And obviously I've played a lot of Bheta-Decima. It's originally was going to be 5, just 5 best kill teams, but I realized there are 7 like very, very good kill teams that are worth mentioning here. And I don't think I could have fit it in 5 because originally I wasn't going to include Hierotek Circle and Wyrmblade, but after playing with them and against them onto Bheta-Decima, they are very, very powerful, and I think they're worth mentioning, which is why I increased it to 7. So I originally wanted to be 5, but yeah. But I've got a lot of kill team content coming out this week. I have another guide coming out on Thursday because it's going live on the Monday. But hopefully you enjoy it. I'm really enjoying Bheta-Decima, especially. And I'm not even playing any 7 of these kill teams. Yeah, you see? That's how good I am, right? Like, I'm not even abusing this stuff. I'm just seeing people abuse it, and I'm like, wow. Like, literally, Pathfinders is just so oppressive on this. Like, Pathfinders and Harlequins are, like, really oppressive. But until next time, remember, no matter what happens on the high seas of kill team, even against the ocean, you can always win as long as you can roll a crit.